Hello everybody, welcome to another Valheim video. Today we're going to be learning about 3 or 4 quality of life mods that improve the Valheim inventory management experience significantly. We'll be covering Azu's extended player inventory and his AAA crafting mod. Additionally, we'll be covering the re-upload of Craft from Containers by Aidenthorn that was re-uploaded by Grizzly. And I'll show you what I use personally at the moment, which is Extra Slots by Shudnow. But before we get too much into that, let's make sure that you understand the core problems that these mods address. That way you'll understand why people enjoy using them so much. There's a reason that these are some of the most downloaded mods of them all. They help reduce the friction of certain parts of the gameplay loop that are highly repetitive and end up alienating players a little bit earlier than they might otherwise stop playing Valheim. So with that, let's get to it. The most obvious constraint that you'll notice is on your inventory space. In vanilla Valheim, all of your equipped equipment stays in the inventory, and so does your food. So you'll find that once you fill up your hotbar, you have a whole gear of armor, some ranged weapons, maybe some magic, some food. You're looking at maybe 9 to 12 inventory slots, and that'll fill up pretty quick. You'll find that as you explore, it doesn't take long for a bunch of stuff to fill up your inventory, which is going to actually bring you to the second limit here. Not only do you have limited slots, you also have limited weight. Normally you're limited to 300, but I'm recording this video with dev command, so I get a fancy little dash because I'm invincible. These are the two main constraints that you have to keep in mind. I would personally say that they work very well in the beginning of the game, and then as the game progresses to the end, the sheer quantity of different items and recipes really overwhelms these basic systems. Personally, I encourage you to try the mods that you feel interested in, especially if there's something in Valheim that you've already gotten frustrated about. Let's move on to the crafting menu, which is another point of contention with some players. In the beginning of the game, the crafting menu serves its function quite well, because the things you can make on the workbench and the forge tend to fit within one page. You don't need to have a scroll bar. But as you progress, especially with things like the workbench or the forge that can make a lot of different weapons, then you're going to find that it becomes kind of hard to figure out where the thing you're trying to make is. Now, I've just explained where the friction is. I'm not saying it's bad, I'm not saying it shouldn't be there, but I want you to be aware of these pain points so that you can make a better decision about which mod is more relevant to your particular playstyle. Let's take a look at Shud's Extra Slots mod. This is a good starting point if you haven't used any mods before and you're not quite sure if you want to go in all the way and get full customization. Shud's mod gives you a couple of designated out-of-inventory slots for different kinds of food. Additionally, it makes it so when your items are equipped, they go into this separate area over here, freeing up valuable inventory space. So even though it just looks like a paper doll or quick slots, this mod also gives you more inventory space by freeing up the slots that your equipment would normally take. There's also some slots that you can use for anything you like, such as meads, other equipment, and once you put something in the quick slots, then you can look in the bottom left of your screen and see that there's also some hotkeys that you can use. This allows you to change your arrow. I already have the arrow drawn, but I can hold Alt and actually switch, and watch, it's fire, I draw it, switch it, it's ice. Next, we'll talk about my personal favorite feature, which is craft from chests. I can honestly tell you that this is the only modded feature I don't really enjoy playing without. I can get used to pretty much everything else, it's not that big of a deal, but not being able to craft from chests, I find really frustrating. Just so we're clear, in vanilla Valheim, you have to have all of the material in your inventory. Right now, for example, I just have 10 stone. Yet, if we go to our crafting page here, we can see that I have access to 20 wood. How is this possible? Well, it's because in this chest right here, there is 20 wood. Craft from Containers does what it sounds like it does. It allows you to build things out of stuff that's in a container nearby. This allows you to spend more time building and crafting and less time looking through your collection of fantastically organized chests. And this is a big problem later on in other biomes where you have loads and loads of items and you've done lots of progression, so the inventory problem becomes a constant thing. That's the main reason I don't enjoy playing Valheim without craft from chests. I just find that I constantly have to look at this and move things around, and then I can fight for a bit, but then I have loot and I gotta spend like an hour moving it around and putting it in the right place, and it's a whole bunch of this and not a lot of this. You know what I mean? Like, Valheim's a beautiful game. I don't think there's much sense in being buried in the 2D UI all day. But hey, to each their own. If that's what you're into, then you're probably not watching this video. Let's move on to AAA Crafting by Azu. We'll look at two of Azu's mods at the same time, Expanded Player Inventory, and also AAA Crafting. At first glance, on the top left it may look the same, but it's not, because there's a config file that allows you to change this to whatever you want. You could make a huge inventory if you thought that was best. You'll see that it also adds a quick slots option that gives you 3 options here for your arrows and binds them to Z, X, and C, and gives you paper dolls outside of your inventory to free up your equipped items, giving you that extra inventory space. And then you just need to adjust the config file, and you can get even more rows in your inventory, potentially doubling it or tripling it. And then look over here at this crafting menu. Personally, this is my favorite Azumatt mod. I think it's really cool how you can see all of the icons. In the beginning, it might not seem that necessary. As you progress, you'll quickly realize that there's a lot of stuff you can craft in Valheim. And being able to have a quick visual of what you know how to craft and knowing that you can craft it because it's colored in really helps find things in a more intuitive and enjoyable manner. And you can also just search directly, which is another lovely feature. These are some fantastic examples of client-side mods that provide inventory solutions for Valheim. That being said, it would seem a little bit foolish to not mention one of the most popular mods of all time for Valheim related to inventory management. And that's Adventure Backpacks by Vapok. If you're more comfortable with using mods that do more than just do a little bit of client-side quality of life stuff, then I definitely encourage you to check out this Adventure Backpacks mod. You can read more about it on the main Thunderstore page, but you can see there's the Satchel, Rugged Backpack, Blood Bag, Arctic Sherpa, Lox Hide, and Explorer's Whipsack. These backpacks tie into the progression system, so as you go into a new biome, you can make a new backpack and it has more space, etc, etc, etc. A lot of people I know really love this mod, and especially people who play on Valheim modded servers, they often use a backpacks mod. Now you know about just a few of the community's favorite quality of life mods for inventory management in Valheim. If you want to learn more about anything else related to Valheim, whether it's modding, how vanilla Valheim works, or you want to get into the magical glory that is Expand World Prefabs and server management, then check out my other videos and subscribe to the channel. I'm completely dedicated to Valheim content, and I make a lot of tutorials teaching people how beautiful this game really is. If you want to support my work, then you can like this video and subscribe to my channel, or if you really want to help out, you could support on Patreon. It goes a long way to motivate me to keep making content and keep work on the Enigma project going strong. If you want to learn more about Enigma, you'll have to learn about that in another video because I'm running out of time for this outro. Alternatively, if you want to get your own dedicated Valheim server, then you could just go to Zap Hosting and use my link, JP Valheim. I've been using Zap hosting Valheim servers for multiple years, and I've had a really enjoyable experience. Getting a Valheim server personally changed my life a lot. I don't think this will happen to everybody, but something about managing a server that other people are playing on really motivated me and encouraged me to learn a lot more about game design and better understand how people play games. So I'm really grateful for all of you who play on Path of Magic and the other kinds of things that I've done over the years. It really means a lot to me that people actually want to work with something that I've worked on. I mean, and that's the cool thing about Valheim, because to be honest, Valheim is a gem. It's a masterpiece. But what makes it kind of special is that it's a masterpiece that gets in the way of itself. In that way, Valheim is very special, because it's sort of like an open canvas of beautiful assets, incredible characters and monsters, and really cool music. And it's up to you to figure out how to best put everything together to make a really enjoyable experience. And if that sounds fun to you, then just check out my other content and consider joining the Valheim World Editing Discord. It's a fantastic place to be if you're interested in any kind of world customization. Until then, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye-bye!